Van, thank you for stopping by Game Changers, my
No
brother.
problem, bruh. No
It's been a
problem,
long
man.
time coming, honestly. We've talked about doing this.
Yeah.
And obviously coming off this crazy last few weeks of yours,
Right. The timing was right. The universe had something.
No, exactly. The universe had something, and I obviously got to meet you when I was interning.
An intern, a young Australian intern at TMZ.
This random Aussie dude just running around at TMZ.
Right.
And
with the best energy, though. Everyone
you.
always said that had the best energy, man.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And that was, I kind of like got an early sight for me, working like alongside you, that like I saw this in you, this well-spoken, very politically inclined to like use your platform to do good things with, and to really embrace the culture.
Yeah. I think that I appreciate all those things. I think that we're all the sum of our experiences, right?
Yeah.
Our experiences, they speak to us and they speak through us. And so anything that I've ever said on television, on TMZ or anywhere else, is just my life experience, coming out of my mouth. Yeah. And so sometimes if you're in a situation or working at a place like TMZ where there is diversity, but there's one specific prevailing cultural voice, much like the things are in America. Yeah. You have to make sure that the voices of other people that that reflect your background, that those voices are heard too. And the only way you can do that is to speak up.
No, and that's exactly what you did. How's the last 3 weeks, since May 1st, May 2nd, how's it been for you?
It's been pretty wild.
Yeah?
It's been pretty wild. It's wild to first of all, it's wild to have people that you never thought you'd be having conversations with. Yeah. To talk to them. It's wild to have everyone all of a sudden feel like you have something to offer. Yeah.
Which you already had that to offer, right. But the platform and the circumstances allowed you to become a household name.
Right.
Well, CNN.
Yeah.
Well, I would honestly say, like before, I obviously knew you, and I'd be like, oh, my buddy Van from TMZ. People would be like, And then after, when I was saying, Van's going to sit down on Game Changers, people were like, oh, like every single person was like, oh my God, how do you even know Van?
Right, right.
So it has allowed you to be exposed to a larger market.
Sure, without a doubt. And I think that the important thing is when something like that happens, to lay tracks so that you can keep the train moving. Don't get caught up in or try not to get caught up in any of the fleeting things, because the cycle moves so fast on social media and things like that people will be on to the next thing. But if you want to have an actual lasting career where you want to move on and get these ideas out and create and vibrate and sort of empower people on a specific level, then you got to make sure that you're at the most focused point when there's the most swirling around you. And so when these things started happening, the people that I had already been working with and creating with, I said, listen, now we really got to get to work. Yeah. We really got to get to work. We really got to see what's out there. We really got to sort of make as much headway as we can into building the career that we want to have.
I don't know if you can talk about them or not. You're saying you're having these conversations with people that you wouldn't, have thought that you would be talking to. Are there any that you like can mention about that you're like, this person came to me and was like, wow, like I want to have this conversation and really be involved with?
Not really.
I can't really. No, I figured that was probably going to be the answer, but I wouldn't be doing my part if I didn't ask
feel you,
it.
But I will say that it's going to be very soon that you'll kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And some people just reached out just to say, I can name some people just reached out just to say like, what up, like some even the mentions on Twitter. People that didn't reach out directly, like Trey Songz mentioned me, Jessica Chastain, like
crazy, right?
Jamie Lee Curtis, and then other people voices. Not other people. The ones that were most meaningful were voices within the culture, like Netta, People like Angela Rye, all those people that have really been working.
Yeah.
Michael Eric Dyson.
Wow.
Bakari Sellers, Marco Hill, Toure, all of those people. Me and Toure talked for a long time that have really been pushing intellectual thought in the community and in the culture for a long time. It just meant a lot to be recognized by them because they've been doing the work for a lot longer than I've been around.
Yeah, you jumped on one of your podcasts, the Red Pill, straight after with Charlemagne, who had the interview that came out with Kanye that exact same day, which is, you're a friend with Charlemagne, so it's kind of crazy that they align in that same way. The same that you said, your mom said that, you growing up listening to Kanye and respecting him so much when you were younger, those things kind of align. Right. How's the conversations between Charlemagne, who sat down with Kanye that earlier, but it came out that day, and the disparity in the gap between when his one kind of was recorded and the one where you had your conversation?
If you ask him, he said two things about it. He said, number one, it showed what a true Gemini Kanye West is, because the one conversation with Kanye West was completely different, serene. He was almost Dalai Lama-like. His haircut was even different. And then by the time he comes to TMZ, he's wilding.
Yeah.
Also, me and him talked about it. Except it's funny. When I left, so Ye comes in, me and him go back and forth, right? We had shot TMZ Live a little bit earlier than we normally shoot it to accommodate him.
Yeah.
And so not tremendously earlier, but just maybe 30 minutes, an hour earlier.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of time before I normally go out and walk around on my lunch. And when I left, the first person I called was Charlemagne. And I called Charlemagne and I was like, yo, man, I fucked up.
Wait, you thought you fucked up?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm screaming at Kanye West in the middle of the newsroom.
Yeah.
And he's like, word? I'm like, yeah, man. We was going back and forth. He said that slavery was a choice for the ancestors, for black people. And I stood up. I let him how he ended up coming over there. I was like, I don't know how much of it's going to make the show.
Yeah.
But it was, I feel like I lost my temper a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been trying to work on, staying completely composed in the middle of any discourse.
Yeah.
So that I can completely make myself clear to the person who I'm having that discourse with.
Smart.
And he goes, nah, man, you tripping. It probably won't make the show and blah, 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 blah. You don't have nothing to worry about. Now, at that same time, mad people that worked with me at TMZ were hitting me up and going, yo, appreciate you saying that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I walked around for about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, like I do on my lunch. I came back, and when I got off the phone with Charlemagne, I guess my data kicked back in, and the phone was going crazy.
Yeah.
The phone was going insane.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? The homie Wale, Joe Budden, all of these people, they had reached out like, yo, man, I mean, not even like to diss Ye. No. These people weren't dissing Kanye West.
And that's the thing. I think people aren't so much as dissing Kanye West as in they are wanting to have a real conversation and make him question what he's actually doing and what he's saying. And also, like what I think you did, try to make him aware of his importance and his platform and the responsibility he has.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he has a responsibility he's got to be responsible with what he says if, in fact, he's misinformed. I think it's important to say that if Kanye West believes some of the things that he's saying, he doesn't have a responsibility not to say them. He should say them if he believes them. But if what he's saying is rhetoric that's not fleshed out, anyone, if they're saying things that are not fleshed out, and in particular, if you have that type of microphone, that type of megaphone, should I say, you need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Specifically when it comes to what he said. Now, I'm a black American, and there's been a lot of discussion about victimhood and the victim mentality with black people. Some believe that there's a mentality that's holding black Americans back. It's a mentality that we can't achieve in America, that we're so downtrodden in America. It's a conversation that you can have. You can have a conversation about whether or not people should change their mentality from one of an oppressed people to one of an empowered people. It's a completely okay conversation to have. What's not an okay conversation to have is about whether or not our ancestors were victims, because they weren't.
Yeah.
They were survivors. And they survived and created an unbelievably beautiful culture in some of the most dehumanized circumstances in human history. And whatever we do as black people, really, to be honest with you, whatever we do as Americans, because remember, those are the same people who built that country, who built the White House that the president lives in right now, who built the Washington Monument, all of those things, whose labor enabled the United States to have an unbelievable economic advantage over the rest of the world, because a bunch of people who weren't getting paid were building all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff, I take into consideration when you mention them.
Yeah.
Right away. Where I'm from, there's a connection to slavery. From Louisiana, where there's still antebellum homes, there's still plantations that are there that people go tour around.
Yeah.
There's still trees that I know that my ancestors hung from.
Wow.
So while you don't want to dwell on that, if you're going to bring them up, you're going to respect them.
For sure.
And that's the only thing we talk about, choices or non-choices or anything like that. If Kanye West likes Donald Trump, his prerogative.
Yeah.
If you like Donald Trump now because Kanye West said like Donald Trump, go for it.
Yeah.
That's on you. And what will happen to the country, you'll have to make beans with that when it comes to pass. But my ancestors, the people that got hung from trees and drugged from shit, leave them alone. Leave them out of it.
You talk about Louisiana. I was growing up in Louisiana. What's that cultural upbringing like, and obviously that has a huge importance of who you are today. How was growing up in Louisiana?
It was amazing. I think that it taught me a couple of different things. It taught me number one, that the spirit of people is the most important resource that we have on earth. The spirit of people.
What do you mean by that? The spirit of people?
What I mean is what we have inside of us that's innate, like how we relate to one another, how we need each other, how we connect to build communities, the music we share, the art we share, the food we share, the culture we share.
Yeah.
All of those things are the backbone of a civilization. When we talk about respecting each other, what we're really talking about is respecting that. Respecting the things that make us who we are. And there's such a strong sense of culture in Louisiana. There's such a strong sense of identity. And it's something that was impressed upon me at a very young age. And also something about growing up in Louisiana, it taught me that small things are huge differences. And what
small things are huge differences.
Small things are huge differences. And this is what I mean by that. Culturally in Louisiana, out here in Los Angeles, you go 2 blocks in any direction, you have a different set of people living there.
For sure.
There's a Koreatown. There's a little Armenia. There's a little Tokyo. There's a little Ethiopia. There's all types of different places with all types of different ethnic groups. And every single place that you go with these different ethnic groups, there's a different language. There's a different bakery. There's a different cuisine. There's different cultural ethics. There's all of these things. And they differ. And if you're
it's the norm. It's the norm here.
And if you're gonna be in LA, it's awesome if you want to really soak up the culture here to kind of dip and dabble in those different things, but they're really different. So a lot of the misunderstandings that you would have are basically because people are not aware of other people's cultures and they have to learn. Like,
uneducated on other people's cultures.
Like when I first came here, I was playing basketball with my homeboy Kelvin. Shout out to Kelvin. And Kelvin's he's from El Salvador. And I called him a Mexican. I was like, yo, he's Mexican.
I've done that, the exact same thing.
And he wasn't having that. That's not his deal. In Louisiana, between black people and white people, we eat the same thing. We go to the same football games. We listen to the same music. We go to the same places. Black people and white people in Louisiana are almost completely homogenous, besides one thing.
What's the one thing?
The color of their skin. And the color of their skin denotes their economic status.
Mm-hmm.
It denotes their social status. Whereas everything else, we go to the LSU games, they go to the LSU games.
Yeah.
We love high school football, they love high school football.
Mm-hmm.
We eat gumbo, they eat gumbo.
Yeah.
All of these things. Crawfish boils, everyone has them.
Yeah.
All of these things, because of how close we were during slavery and during all of these things, because of these communities. That's not to say we're not still segregated, because we are.
Mm-hmm.
But culturally, it would be very difficult to tell those two people apart.
Yeah.
But in terms of the stark difference in treatment and standing, you see what a small thing like the color of your skin, what that actually means. It actually means everything where I'm from.
Did you see the difference in education because of your color of your skin in Louisiana?
In terms of?
In terms of the importance on education put on, the difference between someone that was white or someone that was black?
I'll give you an example. When I was in the 4th grade, we took something called the LEAP test. The LEAP is a standardized test. They take it to track the kids. I'm sure they have it in Australia.
Yeah.
Or something like
Something like it, yeah.
Right. And I got a high score on the LEAP test.
Yeah.
So there's this guy from this thing called pupil appraisal. They come down and they go, okay, so we're gonna put Van, and we're gonna see if Van is gifted and talented. And I put blocks together.
Yeah.
And I did all of these different things.
All those tests, yeah.
All of
I know
those
those,
IQ tests, and I did all of those things. After a while, they go, okay, well, the kid's we're gonna pull him out of his normal classes, or not normal. We're gonna put him out of these classes and put him in these classes. Now, when you go to the gifted and talented program, a couple of things happen. The classes only are allowed to have, I think, 15 kids in them.
Okay.
All the teachers have to have a certain degree of training or advanced level degrees.
Yeah.
And then automatically all your classmates become white.
Wow.
All of them. They all become white.
Crazy.
So, because two things happen. That is a way for them to segregate the schools. Because I tested...
Legally.
Yeah. I tested into the gifted program.
Yeah.
There are other kids who drew a picture.
Yeah.
But also to their point, to their credit, their parents attempt to put them in those programs. Their parents know that if they're going to be in public school, they try.
Yeah.
Those are things that we didn't even really know about. I mean, they came to us.
Yeah.
So my educational, I was able to see a difference, right?
Yeah.
Because I would be in middle school. I went to a magnet middle school, but then I went to a high school, McKinley High. Shout out to McKinley High School. I went to McKinley High, and in my gifted classes, it was completely different than I had in the elective classes that I would have, or when I played ball or something like that.
Yeah.
So you would see the differences,
the disparities,
in the education, and it was pretty stark.
Wow.
And the head start that was given to kids, even the degree to which your teachers interact with you and they care. If you start slacking, they go, "You're too smart for this."
Yeah.
If you start falling behind, they go, "Yo, what's wrong? Like, what's going on with you?"
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what you have to offer the world? And they instill in you the most important thing that you can instill into a young, the young person, which is purpose.
Yeah.
They make you feel as if you don't actually accomplish something, that you're wasting something.
You're wasting your opportunity.
That you're wasting your opportunity. You have purpose. You have a function. You're useful. And because of that, I started to feel like, yo, if I'm not cutting it or being up to snuff, that there are people who are going to be not only disappointed in me, they're going to feel sad for me because they see so much potential in me. And I think a lot of times with young black kids in these different places, they're not really taught about what they could do. They're taught about consequence. And if you talk to a younger black kid, especially when I was coming up, or just a kid from the neighborhood, and you ask them why they wanted to go to college, they'd say, "Well, listen, if I don't go to college, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail."
That's a great way. That I've never thought about the way of you can obviously say things in two different ways. You can say, like, if you, like you said, if you if you keep acting up, you're going to end up on the streets. Or you could say, hey, if you spend more time on education,
Right.
then you're going to go further
Right.
and you're going to be in college.
Right. The point of going to college is not to not be something.
No.
The point of going to college is to be something.
Of course.
So
for real.
You shouldn't be going there or doing anything so that you don't suffer a set of consequences.
Right.
You should go somewhere to enrich your life
For real.
and live
Yeah.
at the highest level that you possibly can. That changes your outlook and that changes all things. Obviously, you know, you're dealing with sometimes forces that are being put on you from your socioeconomic status that put you in survival mode.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I learned. I can't tell you how many people that I know that are gone right now. They're some of the brightest, most talented people that I've ever met. And some people right now, they're just a prisoner of their circumstances that are that. And I think that that's kind of the work that needs to be done. And what Louisiana does is it at least living in Baton Rouge, it puts you right next to those people.
Yeah.
It puts you right. Like I went to high school with Lil Boosie.
Okay.
I've known him for a long time, right? It was obvious then that there was something special about him.
Yeah.
You know, when he first, I mean, I'm a couple of years older than him, but when he first got to McKinley, like, he was a popular kid. He was a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
But he was a popular kid, and people loved being around him.
You could see something in him.
There was something there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he hooped. Even at the little tiny kid who played basketball was a dope basketball player.
I respect that because I play ball and we got to play twice as hard as everyone else.
Boosie used to be hooping, man.
Yes.
But I say all that to say that look at everything that he went through. He puts out art. He makes dope music. He's got something. He's got spark. He's got talent. But look at everything that he went through to get to where he is.
Yeah.
Almost every single outside force in the world was pushing on him to take him out of the space that was destined for him. And he had to really put his fight for it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he didn't always make the best decisions. We know he did.
Yeah.
But that's the example of how sometimes we lose talent or we waste talent or we're not able to kind of maximize the opportunities that we have that are innate within us.
The people around and that are put in places in order to help people grow and flourish play such a huge role.
Without a doubt.
And without those people and without the guidance, it's no wonder that there are a disparity in different demographics.
Right.
And different cultures.
Right.
Because if you don't place importance, if you don't try to look for the good, you know what I mean, and look for the opportunities that you can place on the youth in your society, there's always going to go backwards.
Yeah, and it's hard work, you know. It's difficult to concentrate on some of these things when you're just trying to survive.
For real.
You know, and it's hard work, but I think specifically as Black Americans, and really, if you care about America and you care about society, you should really be into the upliftment of all marginalized people. I tell you why. We're losing out on people who could change this world.
For real.
They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're guys who could cure cancer, they're policemen, they're people that are being steered in the wrong direction or sort of you know, a little bit off their square.
Yeah.
Human beings that could really make contributions.
Yeah.
And I know that they could. So we have to, as a community, as a country, we have to reach back and provide ways to find more success stories.
When you went to college, where did you go to college, by the way?
I went to 2 different colleges.
Okay.
3 actually. I went to Louisiana Tech University.
Yeah.
And then I went to Southern University, which is a Black school. HBCU, I should say.
Yeah.
And then I did a little bit of studying at LSU as well.
What did you? What was your major? Like, what were you planning on?
Science, pre-law.
Okay.
And then I caught the writing bug, and that was that.
What was it about writing that really, you know, drew you in? And
storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, storytelling. Like we lived out here for a couple of years, right? From like 89 to 92. Yeah. I think, or like
out here in LA.
Out here in LA.
Okay.
We lived in Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Economy in Louisiana got real bad. We came out here for a little bit, and York Elementary School in Hawthorne, there was a short story contest.
Okay.
And I wrote a short story. And
How old are you at this stage?
11.
Okay.
And I wrote a short story, and the short story was about our bus. Because they would go to camp every year. Mm-hmm. We were on the way to camp.
Yeah.
And our bus got hijacked. And,
what?
Yeah, and I wrote this entire thing to where I remember the story like this. Our teacher was kidnapped, mm-hmm. and we had to make it out of the woods on our own. And
okay.
all of my classmates were in it. And
this is an imagination for an 11-year-old.
Right, and all my classmates were in it.
Yeah.
And the teacher didn't show up until the end of the story to save the day.
Yeah.
And I read it, and I read it to the class, and the class applauded.
Yeah.
Because they were so geeked. First of all, they were so geeked to hear their own names and stuff like that.
Of course.
And the class applauded, and when I looked over, she had tears in her eyes.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, shit. This is dope. You can write shit. But then, she called my mom. And my mom read it, and it was a little violent. So it was a little violent.
Like, we really love the ability of storytelling and the imagination, but we need to rein this back just a little bit for the graphical content.
Because she got kidnapped and all of that. She was like, Van doesn't have any issue with me. He likes the school, right?
Yeah.
But since then, I would just sort of drift into the world of narrative, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just even when it wasn't something super serious, when I was just sit down and write, and you get your thoughts out, you put on, if any writer listening to this, write to Kid Cudi's first album, you will be great.
What, you used to write and listen to Kid Cudi's album?
Well, this is obviously later on, but Kid Cudi, whenever I write anything, Man on the Moon.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it about Man on the Moon?
Is it Man on the Moon or Man in the Moon? I think it's Man on the Moon.
I think it's Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
Man on the Moon, yeah.
The flow of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the flow of the album, and I think part of it was, I was writing a lot at that time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot at that time, and it starts off with, what up? Mm-hmm. You're in my dream. And like, as soon as I hear that, my brain just goes, create.
Wow.
And that's whenever, even now, if I'm blocked, put it on.
It could also be the fact that he is such an amazing and genius creator.
Yeah.
And what he creates definitely sparks others to.
Yeah. For me, it really does.
Yeah.
There are other things that I write to, but that more than anything else. Mm-hmm. If I really got to get a session out or really got to sort of finish something, I just throw that on.
What do you, besides obviously, working at TMZ, we'll get there, what else are you writing? What do you really...
essays, screenplays.
Mm-hmm. Screenplays?
I'm writing a book right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the book about?
The book is about how much, it's called Fat to the Future.
Okay.
And the book is about all the things in your life that will be better after you lose weight.
Because you lost a lot of weight.
140 pounds.
Crazy. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What got you to the point that you decided, I need to change my lifestyle?
I was getting out of the car one day, and I was just getting out of the car, and my heart rate shot up. I was like, ooh. My God, I'm kind of tired.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I wonder how much I weigh.
Had you weighed yourself?
Nah.
Wow.
Nah, no wow. Remember, it's Louisiana, so it's not actually the fittest place in the world.
Yeah.
So putting on a couple pounds after high school, college is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I went to Walmart. I go to Walmart, and I get a scale down off the shelf at Walmart.
You gotta be terrified at this stage.
I wasn't really terrified.
No?
I was actually curious.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I get on the scale, and the scale reads 55 pounds or 60. It reads 55 pounds. And I call the guy over. I'm like, yo,
your scales are broken.
That works?
Yeah.
Because I know I weigh more than 55 pounds. And he goes, well, this is a 300-pound scale. And so I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, When it hits zero, you're at 300
pounds.
pounds. I'm like, are you telling me that I'm 355 pounds? And he's like, yeah. But these scales aren't that accurate.
Yeah.
You have to calibrate them for your home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool, peace.
Yeah.
So
I'm not taking this guy.
Yeah, so I went peace. So then I went to GNC.
Yeah.
And GNC is the nutrition shop. You got one right over here.
Yeah.
And they have a digital scale there. You have to pay $0.25 to get on it. Well, that's how it used to be. You have to put the $0.25 in there, and it'll tell you your weight. So there's the typical guy that works in GNC behind there. You know, a guy that works in GNC, like you could tell he works out, but he's not in like super good shape.
Yeah,
like he drinks beers, and so
he hasn't completely dropped the carbs.
He hasn't completely dropped the carbs, but his shoulders are built out.
Yeah, and
I go, yo, is this scale accurate? He goes, it's accurate for me, man. 215 diesel this morning. I'm like, all right, cool, no doubt. So I get on there and I step on the scale and I look at the number and I go, yo, man, are you sure this scale is accurate? And he goes, yeah, this scale has 365.
So you're like, shit, I put on 10 pounds since I was at Walmart.
The Walmart was 10 pounds light.
Yeah.
This one was the real one.
Wow.
So imagine losing 65 pounds and still being 300 pounds.
Yeah.
That is the moment that I went, okay, got to do something about this. And then I moved to when I moved to Los Angeles, I went to the LA Fitness on La Cienega and 18th.
Yeah.
And I forget this brother's name, but I told him like, look, bro, I'm gonna be coming here a lot, man. I need some help.
Yeah.
And I just did it. And I just did it. I started off slow.
Yeah.
Paced myself. But the purpose of the book is, I think that losing weight is like anything else, right? It's, how to do it.
Yeah.
If you keep your body at a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. That means people, if you exercise and you diet, your body will shed pounds. Now, obviously, there are some people that have a little bit more problem with this genetically. Yeah. But most people, if you do the work, you'll lose the weight. Yeah. The problem is, with anything that you really want, any desire that you have to fall in love with the process. And that's difficult for human beings to do, because especially now, because gratification comes almost immediately. Yeah.
That was going to be my next question, was how long until you really saw any type of result that made you believe that you could do it?
I never really saw it.
Wow.
And the reason why I never really saw it is because I'm in my body every single day.
Yeah.
So when you're losing weight, one tip that I give people is turn up on people you haven't seen in a while. Yeah. Like when you're losing weight, every once in a while, someone who hasn't seen you in a while, hit them up. Yeah. Yo, you want to go get a drink? Because if you need that little bit of extra push, they'll tell you that you've lost a lot of weight. Yeah. But the people in your office won't. Nah. The people, your spouse and your kids won't. You know why? Because it's happening every day before their eyes. Yeah. And they're not going to be able to see it till it's almost all gone.
It's very true.
So for me, I was doing my thing, hooping, playing basketball. I knew that I was losing weight because the scale was going down, right? But I'm looking at myself every day in the mirror. Then I visit Baton Rouge. I go back home, and everybody freaks out.
Crazy.
And everybody freaks out. But there are a lot of things in the book like that, just little incremental things in your life that you have no idea, that can be soul crushing to you if you're a little heavy. Like shopping is not fun if you're heavy.
Oh,
If you're heavy, when I was like at my biggest, I was shopping big and tall stores. Not this to anyone who's shopping at a big and tall store. Yeah. But it's an admission that your body's not where you want it to be. And if you're not okay with that, if you're a bigger person and you're okay with it, and you're confident, and you're living your best life, God bless you. Anyone that's confident in it, you should be. But if you're not, and you're going to a store that reinforces that you have to wear, like I think my waist was like a 54 or something like that. Yeah. You can't. Your clothes don't really fit you right. It's just something you don't want to do. Yeah. Meanwhile, when you're feeling great about yourself, it's affirming.
Oh, of course.
It's a life affirming.
You enjoy going shopping.
You sometimes you just see something, you want to try it on, see how it looks. And it's so weird about how this goes is because when you're thin and you pig out, you don't feel bad about it. Yeah. When you're heavy and you pig out, you do.
I know. See, I've never had to worry about what I eat,
you
and
weigh
I'll
like 112 pounds.
I know exactly, exactly. I was like one of your legs,
Right.
and like it's hard for me to connect with people that will have that struggle, you know, and that's why a book like the one you're talking about, for someone that has those little tips and those little things that I would never have thought about that.
Man, I put my before and after picture up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I told people to DM me if they had any issues and they wanted to talk.
Yeah.
I got 15,000 DMs.
Wow. Wow.
People are suffering, bro.
Wow.
And it's something. It's one of those things it's central to the human condition, your body image, right?
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna take it. It's if you can beat that battle in life, you can beat anything, because almost anything that you want in life is gonna require hard work and sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what would make somebody do it?
Yeah.
If I told somebody right now, if they lost 100 pounds by the end of this year, they lost 50 pounds by the end of this year, they would have $20 million. And I showed them the money.
Mm-hmm.
Not as an abstract idea. Look, see this $20 million bucks.
This is yours.
This is yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this, no one will have a problem doing it.
For sure.
But they can't see themselves as the person that they want to be.
Yeah.
So the goal of the book is to just give them a little insight into my life. For example, the Kanye West thing never ever would have happened had I been a larger guy, because my level of confidence that allowed me to be on the television show, that allowed me to be out here in LA, that allowed me to speak freely and fully and share my ideas and not feel like I had to shrink away and be afraid of my body image. That came with me conquering that demon. So, you know, you just gotta, sometimes you gotta goose people a little bit to make them make a change that they need to make.
How does that happen, you getting involved with TMZ once you move out here to Los Angeles? You know, obviously you're working out, you're losing weight. What made you, where's the steps? Was it, how long were you out in LA before you went?
So I got here in 2006.
Okay.
Right after the hurricane, and then I started working at TMZ 5 years later.
Okay.
So I was working for a different company, and the company went away in the most spectacular way.
I wasn't here yet, so I have no idea what company you're talking about.
No, it was a small clip.
Okay.
It's called Capricorn Programs.
Okay.
They made smaller clip shows and stuff like that. Great group of people. Perfect group of people.
Yeah.
To work with while you're trying to learn your way around Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like a family. I still talk to a lot of them today. But the company went away.
Yeah.
Like the economy hit hard, and then, you know, you had to kind of tighten your belt a little bit.
Yeah.
So after that, I was unemployed for, I think that happened in 2008 or 2009, and I was unemployed for a while, and I would have stayed unemployed. This is the way the universe moves.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm unemployed. But because of the money that I made at Capricorn, I had the highest level that you could get paid on unemployment, which is not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was enough money to live. I think it was like $550 a week or something like that, which is easily enough money for me to live at that point. And which seems like I don't see how
you look back on it. You say that, and then you look back on it and compare. You're like, what?
Right. And so I'm writing. So I started my blog, which became pretty popular.
Yeah.
I'm writing for Flicksided. I'm writing for Rap Pages. I'm just writing, writing. We shoot a web series.
Yeah. If
you go on the internet, you can find a web series.
Okay.
I'm just writing, doing all of these things, right? And I'm walking into the gym, LA Fitness on Hollywood and Highland, and this lady says, "Yo, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. If you want to be in a survey, if things go well for the survey, we'll give you $500." Which is 1 week.
That's a week.
Right.
Hell yeah.
That's 1 week. So,
for some questions, I'm in.
So she got a camera on me.
Yeah.
She asked me a bunch of questions. Who's your favorite celebrity crush? Blah, 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 all of this stuff. And I'm making her laugh. I'm charming her because I want the $500. And she goes, yeah, listen, so we're actually going to choose you to go further in this. We're going to pay you the money. You have to go out to this place, and it's like a survey that you're going to answer.
Yeah.
out in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
And so I got my girl to take me out to Van Nuys, and we went out there, and I get there, and the guy goes, "Okay, cool." He goes, "This is what you're gonna do." He's like, "We got different products for you to use." I keep dropping my phone. We got different products for you to use. You're gonna brush your teeth with this toothpaste.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna go in and take a shower. You're gonna use this soap. And then after you get out of the shower, you're gonna use this soap. You're gonna use this shampoo for your hair. Don't use this stuff.
Okay.
And then after that, you shave and use this razor.
Yeah.
All right. So I go in there, do all this stuff, and then afterwards, I'm looking around, and I'm like, "Yo, something's fucking off here."
Yeah.
Because we're basically in a warehouse area in Van Nuys, but it looks like a gym.
Okay.
There are two other guys sitting there, and I'm asking them like, "What's going on?
What are you doing here?" Yeah.
And they're not really talking to me. They're like wearing towels with like and they're shirtless and stuff like that. And I ask them stuff and they won't talk. I'm like, "All right, niggas, what the fuck wrong with y'all?" And then I'm looking and there's a class schedule, right?
Yeah.
For like stuff going on at the gym, but the class schedule is like from 2007, and I then like I get on the scale.
Yeah.
Because I want to weigh myself always, right?
Yeah.
And I know at that point I was like 233 or something like that. And the scale is reading 209. I'm like, "Yo, this scale is broke."
Yeah.
I'm like we're in a gym here. So first of all, why are y'all like what's going on?
There's something sketchy.
And so then I go to the mirror.
Yeah.
And I start using the razor.
Yeah.
And this guy busts out and says, "Are you ready for the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide Challenge?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Are you ready for the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide Challenge?" I'm like,
what the fuck is
yo,
that?
what the fuck? It was a commercial.
Yeah.
Right? And so we do the commercial. I go back and forth. I shave. I tell the dude on the commercial, I'm not shaving off my beard.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. The dudes, me and the host are going back and forth. I'm making them laugh. We're having fun, blah, blah, blah. So we stop.
Yeah.
I go back in the back of the place, and the guys like they're when I come back there, the people actually go, "Look at this guy," and the director goes, "I knew you had us figured out. You had us figured out." I was like, "I didn't have you guys figured out. It's just like it's a weird.
It's just
situation.
weird situation."
So after that, I go and I fill out all of my shit. Right?
Yeah.
I fill out all of my shit. It's a Saturday, so that's a double rate on the SAG pay that you were making.
All right.
So it wasn't $500 because she was wrong about that anyway. I actually ended up making like $1,300 for the commercial. Then they had to pay me a holding fee because when you do a commercial, they pay you a set amount so that you don't do
another one with someone else. Yeah,
do other commercials. So that was $500.
Yeah,
and the holding checks would come like every now and again, right?
Yeah.
But when you're doing unemployment, you have to fill out your income.
Yeah.
On the back of the thing, and you also have to bullshit and tell them, you know, where you look for a job and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I went to Home Depot, I went to Best Buy. Hooping and writing. Hooping, writing, and enjoying my free time. I cannot imagine what I would be doing with free time.
Oh, for real.
So anyway, the next time I got one of my unemployment things, my unemployment checks came in because the unemployment check comes in on the back of it. It's all the shit that you need to fill out. And send in. So one of the checks came in, and I put the income on there.
Yeah,
like $1,000, $1,300, $1,500, whatever it was.
Yeah,
and I sent it in. The next time after that, because it took me a couple of weeks to do that.
Yeah.
The next time after that, I got unemployment. The check was for $75. And the reason why it was for $75 was because
you made too much.
I changed it.
Yeah.
If you're not reporting, if you're reporting zero income, it stays
at
from your old income. But whenever you report new income, they readjust your unemployment.
Yeah.
And the income, actually, it wasn't that I made too much, it's that I made too little. Yeah. So because I had only made like $1,000 for a whole quarter, they're gonna pay you based upon the amount of money that you had made. Yeah. And now I was in a much lower thing, right? Yeah. And so I go, fuck. And I go to the unemployment office. I think it was out there in like, I don't know, Pasadena, Glendale area or something like that. And I'm like, yo, there's been a mistake. And she goes, he's like, why has it been a mistake? I'm like, yo, I can't obviously live off
$75 a week. Yeah.
And it was a dope time because Obama kept extending the unemployment. And I was working. I was writing every single day.
Yeah.
I was trying to get my the Yardbarker stuff popped off to the point to where I was making an income off of it.
Yeah.
And I told the lady, and she goes, listen, this is one of those weird circumstances, but you worked.
Yeah.
And this is what you made. This is what you reported. And it's all accurate. And this is kind of the deal. I'm like, how long is this going to last? She goes, 4 months.
Fuck.
She goes, 4 months. A quarter is 4 months.
Yeah.
Man. It's going to last 4 months. Then you can redo it. But for 4 months, you got $75 a week.
Yeah.
And I come home and I go, fuck. And I go to entertainmentcareers.net.
Yeah.
And I look on entertainmentcareers.net. The first thing, TMZ. Tour Guide. TMZ Tour Guide.
And that's how you end up at TMZ.
Click.
Yeah.
That same day
that
I come home, click it, right, and I remember calling almost everyone that I knew.
Yeah.
Going, yo, is it whack if I become a tour guide?
Yeah.
With my education, with some of the things that I've done, with some of the things that I've written, with some of the people who I've worked with. I was a producer at Capricorn.
Yeah.
I was producing my own show, writing it, producing it, editing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, is it whack? And people were like, yeah, man, you might be, because I was 31.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man, you might be a little bit old to go be a tour guide and showing people around. And I just remember thinking, this is one of those moments where you got to humble yourself.
For real.
It's one of those moments where you gotta humble yourself, and I went there and I wrote it. I wrote I had my resume and I wrote my cover letter and I just wrote it in my own voice.
Yeah.
I tried to be funny, and I tried to be engaged and tried to be try to be me. And they called me like 2 days later. I interviewed with a lady named Tiffany Drucker, who I will never ever 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 forget. Then they hired me and I worked. And I became a tour guide, and literally, Harvey took my tour.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I got to put you on a television show.
Wow. Well, and that's an amazing, like, it's great to hear that you made that conscious decision to humble yourself in that situation. Yeah. Because I feel like in a world where instant gratification is everything now, and entitlement is so prevalent, young people expect to take the job out of college that is their dream job, and there aren't enough people that are really looking and going, okay, I need to start from the bottom, or have some type of like a plan, like, yeah, okay, I'll become a tour guide at TMZ, I'll get in front of the right people, and then I'll move my way up. Like, that's the real mentality of like this business and how longevity and long careers, rather than the instant gratification, you get 1 million followers on Instagram and then everyone forgets about you next week.
Right. I mean, for me, right away I realized I had made the right decision. And the reason it wasn't because of TV or anything like that, but especially initially there, I was in the game.
Yeah.
And even when we started doing the tours, I didn't realize that we were going to be making tips on the tours.
Okay.
So right away, I was making like $1,000 a week in tips.
Yeah.
And that was, once again, at that point, all the money in the world to me.
Huge.
So I was making a salary from TMZ and like $1,000 a week in tips. It was
wow.
all the money in the world to me for the first time in a little while.
Yeah.
Like, I actually could buy stuff and like
have the freedom to not always be thinking about
money and stuff like that. And so, which, things are, even it was at that point that was just a huge amount of money to me, but and then being in a situation to where your ideas were competitive, like the way things are at TMZ is that like someone has an idea and then somebody else comes with a way to make it better, but you're in competition.
Yeah.
Because the more great ideas you have, the further along you go.
For sure.
And just being outside, I papped for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there with the camera. Learning that whole hustle was fantastic.
Yeah.
The early experiences there definitely was something that I need to ingrain myself with Los Angeles and the culture out here.
Was there ever part, even starting off as a tour guide, that you thought about TMZ and asked the question of, is this a company that you wanted to align yourself with?
No. And everyone, I'm sure even Harvey, at some point asked himself that question, but initially no.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I didn't know a ton about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know a great deal about it. When I got more, I guess, into things in the office, you have different issues, and I think the one thing that's kept me there and that's kept me sort of grounded is that I couldn't work in a place to where I had an issue with something.
Yeah.
And no one gave a fuck and no one did anything about it.
Yeah.
So even if, because I'm not an editorial voice at TMZ.
Yeah.
So there are 3 editorial voices.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
They listen to the people in the office that are authorities at the things that they're authorities in.
Yeah.
And even in cases where I'm not going to be able to say, yo, that's whack, on the show, in front of the whole country, in front of the whole nation, I'm able to represent why I think something is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm able to represent to Harvey on the show, not edited, why I think something is out of bounds.
Well, and that's something that I always saw when I was working there. I always would see you take a stance that may be against what the majority in the room would ideally want everyone to believe.
Right.
And that was something that, coming in from, Australia or even, living out in LA for a little while, I looked at TMZ and I wasn't too sure about if it was a company that the values behind what they were actually doing aligned with kind of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And I had questioned that. And you were one of the people that was in the room at TMZ that I looked at and went, okay, you can have your input and really drive this in the right direction if you stay true to your beliefs and your values.
Right. Now, it is what it is over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's celebrity news. It's news about famous people.
Yeah.
It's not something, even though they've done a tremendous amount of important stories,
huge
stories at TMZ, and that can never be taken away.
Yeah.
And there's not a more talented group, a more hardworking group.
Oh,
3 guys that run TMZ, Harvey, Evan, and Charles, are relentless, passionate, driven, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's celebrity news. It's not anything that, at least for me, that I'm sort of looking to plant a flag in and be like, yo, this is my great contribution to the world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't feel bad when I leave the office at all.
No.
I don't feel like I've made the world a worse place. I don't feel any of those things because I know that inside of TMZ, they want to get things right.
Yeah.
They're trying. And they stake their reputation on getting things right.
Yeah.
And they stake their reputation on being accurate with things.
And that's a huge point that I want to push on. Like I've been in that room when something is breaking,
right.
And Harvey is he won't put something else out unless he's like 100%.
He knows. Right. Now, once again, anytime you are a minority in America, the representation of you and your culture, sometimes it's not in your hands, right?
Yeah. You
have to have people there that understand when a line is being crossed in terms of the way something's being covered, or whether or not it's being covered or exploited. And there are certain times and certain different things. I'll give you this example. and this is an example that I use to explain to people about something. This is not to throw Chris's name in the mud or anything like that. But let's say that you and I, and this is kind of the different responsibility that you have to the black community, or the different amount of sensitivity that you have to have with the black community, or any marginalized, any group of people that's a minority sometimes. Let's say that you and I were going to start like a dance troupe, right? We're going to dance, and we're going to use dance to cheer people up. We're going to go to different places and we're going to dance.
Yeah.
Right. And the song that we dance to get everybody up and moving is Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Right. And so we go to an old folks home, and we listen to Chris Brown. Everybody gets up, they move, they love it. Run this on right there. We go to a Center for Wayward Kids, put on Run It. Everybody gets up and they're moving around and stuff like that. We go and we talk to soldiers. And everybody in all the soldiers that have PTSD, they get up and they're moving around, alcoholics, all of this. And we're dancing, we're using dance, and we're getting everybody moving and stuff like that. If we go to a battered women's shelter and we play that song, they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Now, what we're going to say is, we played that song everywhere we went. We're going to say, we played that song everywhere we went. How could we possibly have known that you guys were going to have a problem with this? And what then they're going to say is, look at our situation, our circumstances, you should have known. What it would take in order for that to not happen is it would take us to understand that there might be people out there that have that experience, and maybe have some of them around us. Maybe have somebody around us that could go, maybe when we get here, we might not want to press this particular button and have that particular thing come out. Once again, that's not to diss Chris. I'm just using that as an example. Although he did what he did. You know, in that situation, when you're talking about sensitivity, and you're talking about these big media networks, a lot of them will say, we treated everyone the same. Well, you can treat everyone the same, but everyone's treatment isn't the same.
For real.
So sometimes you have to have somebody that might go, you know what, while you can play with these people over here like that, you might not be able to play with this particular group like that. And I think when the power dynamic is messed around and shifted like that, the only way for you to really speak to it is to have those voices on your staff and as part of your organization that can clue you in when something might go left.
Well, and I think that turns back to the exact thing we started on with the Kanye West, you know, him talking about the 400 years of slavery and that it was a choice. Had you not been there that day, do you think anyone else within that room would have stood up and said anything toward? You know,
there were people that were talking back to him. I don't know if anyone quite got through like I did. But on that point, maybe not. Who knows? But the great thing is we don't have to wonder. There is a certain amount of reverence that comes with that type of celebrity, and all of this is a testament to just how famous he is. Because simply engaging him in discourse was enough to get people to notice me. And that wasn't my intention, but it's a weird sort of, like, that guy's really famous. Like, people really fuck with him heavy. So when someone like that walks into a room, there is a little bit of, God damn, that's Kanye West. So
of course,
for some people, I'm sure it was a little bit disarming. I know that it was a little bit disarming.
What do you believe that when you first came to TMZ, had this situation happened then, would you have had the ability in your poise and control and what you did, you know, May 1st? Do you believe you would have been able to do it back then?
No. I know that I would have engaged him, but it would have been in a lot different of a way probably. Because in being on TMZ Live and being on camera every single day, there's a certain, even though I've never taken like media classes or anything like that, there's a way that I've sort of learned to express myself to be the most effective. And I've argued, raised my voice, all of that. You've heard it.
Yeah.
But I watch Malcolm X. And if you watch Malcolm X, and, this is not talking to a rapper. This was Malcolm X talking to people to try to sticking up for people's lives.
Yeah.
And trying to change the conditions that the people were actually living with that they were dying about in the 50s and the 60s. But when you watched him, no matter, and I did a whole deep dive into everything that Brother Malcolm did, so maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Watched everything I could possibly read. I've reread all the stuff that I read. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X at a very young age, but I went back and sort of just revisited it. And mostly because of the way he conducted himself. Whenever he was in any type of situation, no matter how heightened or fiery or the debate was, he was very, very measured, very cerebral at all times. And he would allow the other person to talk, finish talking, and he would just come in and make his point. And sort of the almost serene way that he would speak made everything that he said devastating, because the confidence that comes out of your mouth when you are not yelling.
For real.
When you are not yelling, when your dander is not up, you're saying to someone, I know I'm right. And I'm not going to try to dominate you with the tone of my voice or the volume of my voice. I'm just going to throw my ideas out there and let them dominate. And he was just, and even if you didn't come around and agree with him, you understood it all. You got it all. You weren't in a defensive posture to where you're now not engaging in the conversation, just waiting to talk. And I think that was something that I tried to. I don't know that I've actually even mastered it, but that was something that has been coming to me over the last couple of years. Over the last couple of years, it's just me being able to get up and go, measure your words, and doing hundreds of different of live shots where you have information, you have to talk, and how to say what you're gonna say when you know what you want to say. And so everything that was going through my head, I was able to spit out to him just like that. Like I wasn't able to, I wasn't stuttering and stuff like that, because a lot of times your brain knows what you want to say.
Yeah. But to get the words actually out of your mouth is a different animal.
Because you're trying to speak before you think. Think the thought first, wait a beat, say it. And that's a technique that I had to learn, and that's something that you learn the more that camera's in your face. Yeah.
So now, this moment happens. You get a lot more attention that is directed at you. I believe that now you have more of a platform to really speak your mind and to really have a effect on society and on the population and world and these kind of things. We see Ebro on the East Coast. He talks a lot, very openly about political importance and what he says. Charlemagne as well. The West Coast doesn't, I believe, have too many strong, especially African American men that are on that tiptoe of politics, but also the entertainment side.
Right.
I believe that that's kind of something that could be an opening for you. What's your plan with the platform that you have?
Okay. My plan, number one for the platform, is to first of all, to grow it, to take my career to new levels, new heights, entertain different people, create different mediums to have these conversations, create different sort of avenues to get my ideas out. So that's one. But secondly, I don't have any answers for anyone. All I have are feelings. All I have are ideas. So if you ask me a question, I'll give you an idea of what people should do. And the idea will be as detailed as I can make it, but it'll still be pretty abstract because I have a job and I have a specific skill set. But what I do know is that there are people who have the right ideas. There are people who have the answers. And we're best served as voices to empower those people, You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, shout out to Shar, shout out to everybody that you named. And Charlemagne is where I really learned this.
Yeah.
You know, my relationship with Charlemagne, my friendship with Charlemagne, has been the one of the most sort of uplifting things that's happened to me in this industry, because I've seen someone who is aware that the solutions to problems might not be in their head, but listens to people who have the solutions and then empowers them. So what you want to do is you want to use that platform to talk about people that are doing the work.
Yeah.
You want to use the platform to empower people who are doing the work, to spotlight people who are doing the work, and also to, like, for example, GLC, a guy who was with Kanye West very early on.
Yeah.
Kanye West said that Obama hadn't done anything for Chicago. Kanye West said, a bunch of people have said that Chicago was a war zone and stuff like that. And I get that things are bad there, but he's there right now.
Yeah.
I spoke to him on the phone. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he ran off a laundry list of things that he's doing in the community right now in Chicago. He ran off a laundry list of things that Obama had done to affect the inner cities in Chicago.
Yeah.
He ran off all kinds of changes that were happening and that were being made. He didn't run away from the fact that things were bad.
Yeah.
But he said that we working on them. And there are people who down there who are addressing them.
Yeah.
So I think when you're in a situation and people fuck with you or they listen to you or they go to you, don't try to be a soldier in somebody else's country. Just send them aid. Arm them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For real.
Like, arm them. Give them, you can't, because you can't, some of these wars, the problems of some communities are specific. Like,
you can't fix them.
You can't. I mean, they can fix.
They can, but you don't have the.
You're not there.
The know-how,
right?
Or haven't been particularly in that exact situation.
I wouldn't even know which hood passes I needed to go into Chicago.
Yeah.
And try to be down there, but there are brothers that do. So why not get a microphone to them and let them run? They'll say their communities, and I mean, that's what you do. That's how we work together.
Yeah.
And so I think that empowering those people, wherever they may be, and not just black people.
Yeah.
We're talking about the women that want to change circumstances for young girls and young women and women all over the place. We're talking about. I did a story on TMZ not too long ago about a kid named Henry who was imprisoned up in New York after he talked about MS-13. You know, what's going on with those situations for all different, our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, all of this stuff. There are people that are working every single day to make those situations better. And if you have a big mic in front of you, just slide over to them.
Empower other people.
Slide over to them. Give them a couple of words. Let people know that they're out there.
That's an amazing way to look at it, and I honestly believe that's why you are a game changer. You know, that's the reason why I wanted to sit down with you today. I believe that you will continue to use the platform that you have and to grow to make impacts that we are going to see, and I appreciate that, and I say thank you for that, man.
No problem, man. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. Look at all the studio equipment and shit like that. What I really want to give y'all niggas is some bars. That's what I really know.
Okay.
I want to give y'all. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to do it to y'all. It's just I need the record labels.
Once we turn the cameras
man,
off.
I don't need record labels hit me up like, man, when you gonna give us this heat, man.
We need the heat.
I know, but I see like y'all got platinum records in here. They got the Weedon Boys, Wiz Khalifa platinum record. I'm inspired.
We're surrounding ourselves with greatness, and that's why you're in here, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for sitting down with us, man.
No problem.
Continue
brother.
the great work.
I am. I hope you guys invite me back too.
Of course. Anytime. You got home here.
All right, brother.